Today another family father's dream car, the Audi S4 Avant, the estate version in the sports trim of the all-new generation of the Audi A4. That is today an Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars with Thomas. And we're going to take a detailed look on the exterior, difference A4, S4, special, taking interest in the estate version or wagon or combi as we say in Germany, or as Audi calls it, Avant. And of course a detailed interior review and the driving experience here also with the V6 performance. Now in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! Now to the exterior, and what you can see here, in general the new A4 generation has this huge single frame Audi grille. The S version does not have black parts in the middle of the horizontal fins. Those ones are in matte grey, also with the S4 logo and bright chrome elements everywhere here. And there's no very sharp headlights here in the Matrix LED trim, the highest trim you can pick. That's of course very expensive, and stronger lower bumpers in the sports version. Overall, well, you can say it does look sporty and sharp, but it's not so much screaming out, and this car is really a lot about understatement. 4.73 meters or 15.5 is the total length of this vehicle, and the color we've picked here is Navara blue. I think a very elegant color. My so-called favorite colors, we also call Thomas blue, would rather be Ara blue or Sepang blue, but this one here also very beautiful, especially to the estate version with those elegant rear lights for an estate, chrome contrast right here also with the roof rails. And Autogefühl winter tire season has started now. Well, we cannot do anything about it, but you can see that we only have 18-inch rims mounted right here, and that is standard for the S versions. You can also go with 19-inch, and usually the test vehicles are mounted with the ultra size rims, and they are really expensive, and you can also easily scratch them. So it's not too bad to have 18-inch here. With winter tires, of course, the tire looks a little bit bigger, would look smaller with the summer tire, but I think 18-inch still works here, especially if you would combine it now with a summer tire. Then a stronger lower bumper here as well in the S version, and it sits just right over two. That is, by the way, the keyless entry. Obviously I hit the door or something like that, and also the side mirrors flip in. So that's a coincidental presentation here as well. Nice. Yeah, what I was saying is that the car sits about 2 centimeters lower here in the S version with a sports suspension, and Michelle is still laughing. And now let's continue to the rear. I think they've designed a very beautiful estate wagon, combi or Avant design here with a black contrast right here and a wing. And some might even say that they prefer the estate if you compare it to the sedan A4. The car is 75 kilograms lighter than the predecessor. We're having a lot of fun today on and also behind the camera. So 75 kilograms lighter than the predecessor generation, but you see it appears wider than the predecessor, especially due to those horizontally drawn taillights. The S version, chrome contrast in the lower part with the diffuser and 4 exhaust pipes, really massive for this V6 engine. Definitely also a beautiful understatement here in the rear. Well, maybe just the exhaust is not real understatement, but overall a very elegant design really here for a very powerful sports car. beautiful slim key, here with the S logo. And as I told you earlier, look at that, this chrome contrast on the door handles and also the mirror caps. And then I just have to grab my hand in there, that unleashes the doors. Then matte aluminum inserts, very beautiful and sporty. Alcantara below that, also from a great build quality. I love that. Auto window openers for all 4 windows. And again, even here we got nice clicking sounds. That is here to open the electric hatch, Bang & Olufsen option sound system, then the S entry logo. And then if we take a look in the interior, we got the flat bottom steering wheel here for the S version, contrast stitches on the inside. And also you see the matte aluminum elements, which is, I think, the most suitable for the S version. I think it looks better than carbon fiber. For a normal A4, or also here if you want, you can also order piano lacquer or also wood. Then to the seats, which is very interesting, because here those ones are the optional S Sport seats, and I do not recommend them because they look fancy and racing style with this integrated head restraint. But the standard sport seats that you get that you get from serial equipment with the S4 are more comfortable. They are already sporty, offer enough side support. You can also check out our A5 Sportback review where we show you different seat setups. And those ones then are also available with Alcantara on the inside, which would be my recommendation. This diamond quilting on the inside here looks fancy, but it's a little bit hard when you sit on it. And for a basis A4, I would then recommend the cloth seats. And let's get inside. And even though the normal sport seats are more comfortable on the long-term run, if you're not driving this car for hours and hours and hours, these ones are comfortable enough and also offer you enough space. I'm 1.86 m or 6'1" for all our non-subscribers, and there's still enough headroom left. So also for tall people, there's really no problem here. And that's why also preferring the mid-size car segment. And as for tall drivers, you always feel comfortable. You even have a comfort surplus if you compare it, for example, to the compact class. Then we can also electronically adjust the seats to all directions. I can also set seat massage, which is optionally available for the seats, and also lengthen the seating surface here. So a lot of things to adapt. And again, a very compact steering wheel with a racing style position. Right where you can also turn off and on the lights, I just leave it on auto. You can also activate or deactivate the head-up display and also put it higher or lower. It's an easy and good control of that one. And another small storage space right here. I just wonder why I'm not sure, in the A5 I think it slides down smoothly. Here it doesn't. And there it is, the head-up display, and you can turn it here up and down, and also can see some GPS information on there, for example, if it's running. Again, the steering wheel, this is, I think, the perfect size of a steering wheel for a sporty car. You can put it in all of the 4 directions, so a good adjustment right here. And there are a lot of commands right here, for example, for the ACC, adaptive cruise control, this one here for the lights and turning indicators. Then audio-visual cockpit, we will soon take another look at that one. Also you can control it right here and here. And on the right side you can set volume control and stuff, and here for the wipers. And we also have some shifting pedals. Those are the optional virtual instruments called Virtual Cockpit, 12.3 inch, and you can see you can have the GPS in the left side of the screen, also zoom in the map, for example, but you can also set the audio information there, or also consumption figures. That is also possible. And you can also change the total view to have more information in the middle part, assistance systems and so on. So relatively freely configurable. Consumption at the moment 10.5 liters on 100 kilometers for the V6. Cockpit overview with the horizontal stress, especially here again with the matte aluminum, which also has this really matte feeling. So I think the best choice to go for sporty equipment. If you want a more in a calm luxury style, also matte wood is available that I do like as well. The vents here, I think this area looks a little bit too big, and also, you know, this connection part here, a little bit too many gaps. Other than that, really perfect build quality. Here is also the dashboard a little bit softened up. Then the screen cannot be retracted. They changed that. I told you earlier, they said hardly any customer did use this function. More details to the infotainment system very soon. Also a Quattro logo here because we have the Quattro all-wheel drive. AC unit. This one is really seamlessly integrated. And in the lower part, then we have two beverage holders, which are adaptive, and even here the 12-volt power supplies with a metal knurling round. That's the famous stuff you're also paying the money for, because 33,000 for an A4 Avant, for example, in Germany, basis price already, that's, you know, not really cheap. But then again, here for the S4 with all of the special sports features, above 60,000. Storage space, glove box here, sliding down smoothly. And for coins, there are holders for a pen and, I mean, standard size. Armrest, properly fixed. And this is here to put your smartphone on for inductive charging, if your smartphone is suitable for that, and if you have picked that option. And they also have two USB supplies to plug in the phone, also for the smartphone connectivity. The key can be put in here. Then there's the volume control, automatic transmission. Here, unlike in the other A4 cars with automatic transmission, only in the 3-liter TDI with 270, 280 horsepower, and here in the V6 petrol engine, there we have the Tiptronic, the converter gearbox. The other ones are the S-Tronic dual clutch transmission. Then there's the central knob, which has the greatest clicking sound. And there's also optional touchpad available that you can write addresses on there. If you want to go to Berlin, go B, E, and so on. Hotkeys 1 to 8, you can just adjust them to your needs, and also hotkeys here, those ones are fixed for GPS and radio and media choices. And here again the adaptive beverage holders, which will have an illumination at night. My favorite AC unit is right here, with a nice illumination there and there. Also in the middle part, seat heating, 3-level, and this visual show. You can change it then if you just really hammer the buttons. Very great in the interior build quality. And below that is the drive select. We can talk about the different driving modes when we drive the car. And now let's go up to the infotainment. And there it is, and works relatively intuitional, so you can also change the language pretty quickly. The reaction times are very short. Smartphone interface, there you can connect your phone with the USB cable. Then, for example, for the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, I rather recommend the normal Bluetooth connection. That one is totally okay. You can do it right here, because that one really works together with the car. With the new systems, Apple CarPlay and stuff, sometimes if you switch around, and for example to the car's own GPS, then for example music is cancelled and so on. So it's not working together that well yet. Then we have the sound settings, for example, for the Bang & Olufsen sound system. We can also take a look at the drive select right here. We will change that one when we drive the car. Also vehicle settings are available here. I can show you what you can do there. For example, more with the seats. Easy entry or automatic belt tensioner. You can also deactivate that. And I can also show you on the screen now when I'm at the seats here. This is the command I'm doing with the left hand now next to the lower part of the seats. You can change the lumbar support, for example, or also the side bolsters. And you can also activate a seat massage. That is, of course, an optional feature. And yeah, maybe that relieves your stress or your pain just a little bit here. And then let's take a look at the GPS screen from here. This is what we have to type in the address, and I could also use this typing function I've shown you earlier.
B, C.
Oh, there's yeah, nice, a pharmacy. But type in ABC, why not? Then let's hop to the GPS here again. In Germany today, and it works pretty fast and pretty well overall. You don't need a satellite view. I would just go for a plain view, but it's of course also possible. So what's going on in the rear? First of all, the same great design, also the inside of the doors. That's why people buy Audi, that you have this great quality. Then you already see the back part of the S Sport seats, and that doesn't look that spacious, and that's true. And another reason not to go for the S Sport seats, but the standard sport seats. Save money and save space. Overall, it's still okay as for the package. So I still, even as a tall driver in front of me, I have some room here and also headroom, at least when the panoramic roof is not mounted. So if you're driving with tall people in the rear, then maybe leave out the panoramic roof. But if you go for the normal sport seat, you would have even more space right here, because the inlet of the normal sport seat is a little bit bigger right here. Interesting fact. Overall, still a comfortable seating position right here, and so for 4 adults, also a very good travel car. You can also flip the seats from here, and this is a 1/3, 2/3 split. In this case, this one here is the 1/3. Doesn't go all the way to the end. Let's see if that changes when I put, when I put a head restraint up, it goes a little bit deeper, and also a soft cloth material on the back part of the seats. And what else is possible? You can also have those beverage holders here, for example. You can flip them out like this. Interesting. And some more space, but I wonder why they haven't dampened this one. It's a minor detail, but for over 60,000 euros, you can maybe expect that. And last but not least, you see when the co-driver seat is all the way in the back, there's not too much space then left. Here, there's also the 3-zone AC where you can set the temperature. And again, even in the rear, you got those metal knurling right here for the 12-volt power supply covers. What about the cargo bay? And by the way, isn't that a great number plate? S4, that's nice. They can do it. So, electric tailgate, that is from standard equipment, even with the lowest spec A4, and a nice solution here for the cover that raises up automatically. However, it's no problem. You can also remove it manually. By the way, here, even on the, see here, it says Avant. That's a nice detail. See, you can also completely remove it, or also de-install it. If you press it right here, this button, then you can also completely remove that stuff. And again, put it in the automatic place like this. Also a light for the trunk, that is a good solution, some hangers, and then you can flip the seats out from here. And I still wonder, for example, if you go for a Seat Leon or even a Golf variant, why is nothing happening? It's just releasing here as well, and then you have to go around or push from here. I'm not sure why the other vehicles in the corporation of the Volkswagen Group, they manage that it gets flipped automatically. Not sure why it's not the case here. And then you can see they have a lot of space left. There's a net to secure stuff, even the Audi ice scraper. Here also systems for the rear. And then you can have a replacement tire optionally. And this one here is a lot of fun here. Good quality right there. Overall, a good offering of space. The only thing I really would like to have the seats flipped automatically. And you can see if I put up the 2/3 split again, that is interesting. We can also have this ski hatch mount, and I'll do that from the rear passenger part. And hello, that's also possible as a setup. You can, by the way, save the position of the hatch. Just press and hold it. So you can also, for example, put it to this position here. If your basement garage is not that high, and then press and hold, you will just listen. There was a small sound. Also, the turning indicator went. And if you want to have it to the maximum position, here, press and hold. That almost works with, well, with the most electric tailgates nowadays. What is interesting, if you look at the A5 Sportback, they usually put the same motors and also the same torque amount for the pressure of the electric tailgate in. But here again, it's not sensitive enough. You know, if you think about children's safety, in the A5 Sportback, it works perfectly fine and it's sensitive enough. I think it just has to do, you know, with the angles maybe. So it's not only about the same motors, also how the hatch is closed. And the same is, by the way, with the most SUVs from Audi and Volkswagen. I still think that they don't have enough sensitivity here. Maybe they want to change that in future again. So this time I stayed back then. Let's take a look what we have under the hood here. Wow, great engine design with a red Audi Sport contrast V6 TFSI turbo petrol engine, and that one here, 3 liter of displacement, delivers 354 horsepower and output of 500 Newton meter of torque. Acceleration 0 to 100 kilometers an hour or 0 to 62 miles an hour in 4.9 seconds. So definitely among the fastest estates there is. I mean, there will of course later be an RS version, but this one here, believe me, is already enough. And again, combined with the Tiptronic converter gearbox. The Quattro all-wheel drive here has a rather permanent setup of 40% in the front, 60% in the rear. This one here is the MLB platform, the longitudinal platform in the Volkswagen Corporation. And that means all the engine are in, longitudinal, built in and not transverse. And then the Quattro all-wheel drive can also adapt, of course, depending on the situation, and send more torque to the rear or also to the front wherever you have some slippery conditions. And there's also this torque vectoring, that the torque on each wheel can be reduced just a little bit to draw the car a little bit better into a corner. I think the best to test that one is to get that engine running. And now to our driving part, Audi S4 Avant with the V6 turbo petrol engine, 3 liter, 354 horsepower. And we start with a city ride, then we'll have an Autobahn ride, also hammer the performance, hammer the throttle, and also some countryside impressions. So when we start here with the city ride, the main thing we feel and experience is the suspension, which still offers a good compromise between sportiness and comfort. So you don't have the feeling, okay, this is a sports car without compromise, and you don't have comfortable everyday driving feeling anymore. This really works very well. And that's also a reason that I usually tend to advise for the Audi S models and not the RS models, because the RS models are still a little bit stiffer. I mean, for example, an RS6 still is very comfortable, yes, but the S versions are a better mix, for the everyday driver, and of course the power is really enough. And I can show you that on the Autobahn. that you won't lack any power. So the RS version is a little bit more tuned then, of course. The car here is also, as we used from Audi, extremely silent, so there's a very good sound insulation, best in class. That means when you're standing here at this traffic light, you hardly hear anything from the outside. We're starting in the auto mode, means the vehicle does everything on its own. From the settings, we'll also browse through some different other driving modes. The steering wheel is easy to control inside the city, and if you cruise around some parking lots, searching for the next free box, it's no problem. You don't have to have any power in your arms to turn the steering wheel. However, they still manage to let it feel sporty enough when you drive a little bit faster. That's also an accomplishment. If I go to the efficiency driving mode, then I can let the car roll. That saves some fuel. Something if I accelerate and then just leave the throttle, the car rolls and rolls and rolls. And the engine is not braking, it's being kept in the higher gears. So that's best for the efficiency. And it's actually nice to drive that way when you're in city driving also, because that makes the car a little bit smoother to drive as well. Comfort would also be a comfortable setting for the suspension, as we have the adaptive sport suspension built in here. And then dynamic, we'll show you that one on the Autobahn, but you already hear shifts the gear lower the car and also turns up the gears higher than later on and gives us more feedback from the exhaust. But here in city driving, I usually keep it with the auto mode. The overview, first of all, through this frameless mirror to the rear is very good, and of course better than in a A4 sedan, as we have the steep window in the very rear. So that's a big advantage. And also to the sides, the windows are very steep, so the car with a decent overview for sure. It's also built in with a lot of assistance systems and also with a new optional traffic assist, and that works up to a speed of 65 kilometers now. So you don't have to do anything in traffic. Basically, you can just relax, and that's a nice thing because traffic is not really enjoyable to accelerate and brake again, accelerate, and so on. And also you can go for it step by step. Start with the autonomous emergency brake, which is built in here. And then you can optionally get normal cruise control. Then as we have here an adaptive cruise control, I can set it and the distance to the car in front of me is being kept. And the most important thing is also the speed is getting reduced to 0. Just when the traffic light is red and there's no vehicle standing, I have to use the brakes on my own. So, but the good thing is that we have a freeway when the traffic light jumps to green. I can show you the first acceleration just here inside the city. Then beside this drive select that is offered, then that also comes with the S version here from Sun Equipped, and you can also have the S mode in the shifting selector. That is the second possibility, and that then has just the effect on the automatic transmission and the gears. And of course the sound, you go D, S, D, S, so very easy to change. And you, for example, do that when you want to do some overtaking on the motorway and search a little bit more power, something like that. That's right here now. That's just once on the throttle and then you're already up to 50, and that was not even 100%. That was like, 30-40% of throttle. And you do hear that sporty sound, but it's not totally exaggerated as with other sports cars. So that's still something in the direction of understatement again, and I really like that. See also how sporty the steering is. If I go into some lane changes in now, direct command of everything, very likable. So you can have a lot of fun even on your daily commuting trips. And of course, relax at any time again. I set the head-up display a little bit higher for me now. Easy to access that one. And in a head-up display, for example, I at the moment get the information of the maximum speed that is allowed and also the speed that I'm driving. And in this highest ACC trim we got in here, that would also mean that when the car is recognizing some new traffic signs, the speed of the ACC is getting adapted. So that is something of an autonomous drive almost. You just have to steer and still. Nice. And due to the all-wheel drive, the acceleration is also relatively harmonic. It's not that you get this push from the rear. And you've seen it also on our exterior shots. The road is still a little bit wet today, and that means you have to be careful not to slide out too much. And if you deactivate the electronic stability control, you can do that in 2 steps, either Sport ESC or ESC totally off, which you should never do. The ESC Sport then also allows some sliding, but be careful, it's an all-wheel drive car, and that means it's not that the rear is sliding out first. You rather go to this all-wheel drive drift, that you drift over all 4 wheels. You also see that in some of our exterior shots. And this is, different driving characteristics you have to get used to. But usually you just keep the ESC in, then nothing of this happens, and that's also safe for driving. So 100 kilometers an hour now, and setting the cruise control. And again, I hardly have to raise my voice. Everything remains very silent, and that is one of the great things with Audi. Now, nothing with the brakes happening. The distance is being kept to the car in front of me. Oh, there's a smart with a puncture. Oh, that poor guy. So, and now again, the cars are speeding up a little bit. Here, nothing there to do. Now free road again, and yeah, the acceleration the car is doing from the autonomous mode is, I think a good compromise as well. Not too harsh, but also not too slow. So I'm satisfied with that. So they have paid a lot of attention to the assistance systems. Most of them are optionally low, so you have to be aware of that. Very relaxed feeling on the motorway. So this is also a car segment that a lot of people go for when they have to score a lot of kilometers per year. Also a Volkswagen Passat would be a suitable car for that. But the interesting thing is that at the moment the Passat is still on the MQB platform for the rather smaller models, or compact models. And this one here, the Audi, which is the competitor to the Passat internally, is already on the MLB platform. Probably that won't be the same forever. So I heard rumors that the new generation of the A4, but I mean that's like in 7 years or something, then will be put again to the MQB platform. But let's see if that happens. Great feedback here from suspension also at higher speeds. I really like that. And again, also at higher speeds, such precision from the steering wheel. So you feel very safe in this car. It's also a very important aspect. And so we'll also reach the part of the Autobahn where we can hammer the throttle once more and also go to a very high German Autobahn speed. This one, by the way, here the blind spot monitor flashes in yellow when the car is passing us, that I know someone is coming, maybe even in the blind spot. One of the very useful systems, and probably one of the first assistance systems you should go for, besides an autonomous emergency brake, if it's not included in the serial equipment. The head-up display is also something I would really go for. What is interesting here, that in this car it is a perfect sharp resolution, and I think in the recent Q5, which is the same technology I had, it was not that crisp. I'm not sure why it's the case, but this time it's really perfect. So really sharp, really precise from the resolution. Maybe the Q5 was one of a pre-production car. Maybe that was the reason. Something like that. So, and we'll go to the dynamic mode now. Then you can also hear what is changing. Also go to the S mode. So it's also when I'm decelerating, it sometimes flashes up the gears then when braking. And also the start-stop function is not active then. So some more silence before we let the car music play. It's by the way a little bit strange. When we're really silent, we sometimes hear from somewhere in the car something like rinsing water, but I mean, as everything is closed, I'm not sure where this sound is emerging from. It's just very silent. You can hear that, but I'm not quite sure. You even hear that better when you're in the start-stop function, and I'm not sure about that. I have to ask about it. So now music from the exhaust. Maybe you can hear those sounds from the car you wouldn't naturally hear because the rest of the car is so silent that you can also hear something else, maybe. So, let's see if we can all safely enter the road. Leave some more space to the car in front of us because we'll catch up to them so soon. Let's go like 50 to whatever, let's go. So that was 50 to 180. Impressive performance, and again a very harmonic performance at the same time. And you maybe heard that or hear it right now, even at higher speeds, so silent inside the car besides the engine we heard, and so stable and safe everything. So that is a true performance, and again one of the best. Always nice to control the shifting pedals of the steering wheel. Also when shifting down, plop, up, down. Then again put in the D mode, maybe even the efficiency mode, then the car is just rolling, and I rather have to say, oh, to go on the brakes earlier. And interesting also in the head-up display, I got the information with there's a small green foot or shoe signal. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, that's an old A4 in the same color, I think. Oh, what the hell? Cutting me off here. Shouldn't mess with that, shouldn't he? It was open. Maybe he didn't even see us. So getting back to the green foot I saw in the head-up display, that was very interesting because here camera and GPS data are combined, and that means that the car knows where a speed is maybe being lowered, and for efficiency reasons says, hey Thomas, already decrease the speed right now, let the car roll out, that saves fuel. So if you pay attention to those commands, if you want, you can really save some fuel. And it will surely be about 10 liters in the mix overall. And I think for a V6 that's okay, because we also have that kind of consumption with 2-liter petrol engines. So, I mean, it should be lower in general, but it's not that you have better, more consumption with a 3-liter than with a 2-liter. And that's again this downsizing thing that it only has an effect on paper. Yeah, that's about it. So now again from a very sporty atmosphere to a relaxing atmosphere, and I think that's what this car manages really very well, that you can have both enough room for your family, but also enough fun for your racing spirit. And talking about racing spirit, we can just go back once more, that you can see the acceleration one more time. as we have this unlimited speed road right there. If you enjoyed it, I hope you did. Other than that, I mean, I show you it here for the for acceleration purposes. When I'm just driving, you know, with a certain destination, and I'm not doing a car test intentionally, or going to a driving event by car. No, you maybe think, oh yeah, Thomas is always riding like this. No, I like those acceleration tests. I just do it like that you can see the performance of the car. Other than that, it does not make so much sense to do that all the time, as you're also losing fun in it when you're doing it all the time. And of course, there are hardly any spots where you can do that relatively safely. And sometimes we get some comments like, hey, you rode an Audi R8 and you didn't really catch all of the potential of the car. Yeah, I mean, that's for the racetrack. And at Autogefühl, we always go safety first. And, you know, this car does fit in a way to Autogefühl, because Autogefühl is also a little bit about understatement. You know, we don't have to show off and do drift donuts in every episode where we show a sports car, because also people buying a very expensive sports car would probably not do it. I mean, even those very exclusive sports cars, for example McLaren, there are hardly any McLaren customers that would ever take the car to the racetrack. I mean, would you put a $500,000 car to a racetrack? Probably not. You get an old MX-5, something, tune it a little bit, and maybe into the small cobblestones. So, one more time into a tunnel, and here again the sound insulation plays a major role, because this is still remaining very silent here. Nice, by the way, for the virtual cockpit, as even if we have the camera mounted here, the second one, you can always see the speed we're going and the acceleration very well. So this is the biggest advantage of the virtual cockpit for Autogefühl viewers. So thanks for introducing the virtual cockpit here. Very interesting. So there's this famous German Autobahn sign which says unlimited speed and going to dynamic. Michel takes off the headphones so he doesn't get blown away by the sound, and we hammer through 80. And 200. That was 80 to 200. Went pretty fast. Wow, and how much control I have over the car, even at those high speeds. The sound remains relatively calm. Good brakes. The S version also features bigger brake discs, and I can really use them right here at higher speeds. So that's already it for today. I mean, I think we gave you a lot of information, really interesting. And with this sound, plop. DSG fart, we also call it sometimes. With this sound, we say goodbye from the driving part and head over to our final conclusion, guys. And now to our conclusion. So overall, I think this is the leading car in the mid-size segment at the moment, and especially also for the estate versions. If you combine riding comfort and interior build quality. Of course, you can always argue this car looks better from the outside to me and this one, but you know, from the whole quality impression and also from the riding, the compromise between sportiness and comfort, already a basis A4 Avant is to me the leading car at the moment there. What can we improve? Well, maybe just the offerings in the seating surfaces. We've talked about that quite a lot of times. Other than that, there's hardly anything to improve with those cars. If you go for the S version, of course, the surplus price is really much. So, you know, it's a better price performance, of course, with the basis A4. With the S version, you really have to invest a lot of money, almost double the price. And again, the engine is a lot of fun, and also doesn't consume so much more fuel than you would go with a 2-liter engine, for example, because this downsizing is usually helping on paper for the fuel consumption, but not in reality. A nice refined sound from this engine here, also not too loud, because I mean those super screaming out engines, I mean maybe it's not up to date yet. I think here they also found a nice compromise as for this one. So is this your family father's dream car? Then put me your opinion right there in the comments. And I'm expecting you to join the next Autogefühl episode. Thank you very much for watching, guys.